I think it's a good time to start. We have at least three people in order not to waste so much time and, you know, cover what we have for today. I think it's a good time to start. Is anybody on board with me with this? If you are, please leave a comment on the chat box. All right. Well, yeah. Okay. Thank you, Juliet. Perfect. Okay. I celebrate everyone that, for you to make it yesterday and also make it today, you are you are steps ahead, regardless of your final decision. Even after this conversation today, yesterday we set the foundation into the different gold mines in the childcare industry. And one of the things we also established is that when you think childcare, you think business, and you also think that childcare is an industry and not just a job. It's not it's not limited to just taking care of a child or taking care of children. It's a multi-billion dollar industry with multiple streams of income, with multiple business models that you can leverage on. And also yesterday we looked at the business of nannying as one of the models, while we also exposed you to the other series we have, which is the after school care, the daycare and preschool center, the homeschooling program, and also the special needs center. For the purpose of this webinar, we are only going to be looking at two pathways. And yesterday we looked at the business of nannying. Today we are looking at the after school care. The other businesses are scheduled for the later part of the year. And once we are set to launch, because you're already in our database, you'll definitely be the first to get access to knowing. Now, I am very honored and happy to have Mrs. Ibironke here with us today. But before I bring her on board, I want to open your mind to really understand what after school care is. I know for some people, especially for the people with us that have experience as a teacher, as an educationist, you must have been familiar with, the workings or the system of the after school care program. However, don't close your mind, open up just to understand what we are talking about. Please note that this is not an extension of nannying. This is another childcare business model entirely. And so at the end of today, we will understand that the after school care is a gold mine in itself. We'll understand why it's a gold mine. We should really start this business and we should not. And what the next step is for you. Like I did yesterday, I told you a story of three different women. But today, I'm going to tell you the story of just someone that we all can relate with, right? So there is a woman many of us already know, or maybe you are that person, really. She's a working mom, and her child goes to school that closes by 3 p.m. But she works 9 to 5 and sometimes doesn't close until 6 p.m. every single day. So sometimes she gets very anxious, like, okay, where will my child be? Who is watching over my child? Is someone helping with homework? Is my child just sitting somewhere waiting? That is a problem that she's always or constantly looking for a solution for. Some children go home alone, while some move from house to house. I'm sure, especially even for me growing up, I was you have neighbors taking care of you before your family or your parents, come back from work. Sometimes these children are exposed to devices, that's that phones or tabs or name it, any device for hours. Now, some other children are exposed to extra lessons which a lot of time gets very overwhelming. A child has been in class for 8 hours or 12 hours, and then as an extension of another 4 hours to still be learning. It's exhausting. These lessons repeat most times what has been taught in school already. What is the real need? What parents are looking for is not more teaching, it is support. I've had some moms, or yeah, some families would say if they had their way, they would stay back at home to care for their children. But the reality is, there are more dual income households in this century or in this generation. So a lot of people are working, a lot of people are still pursuing their career. So they cannot have that luxury of staying back to care for their children or even pay more attention to their homework or assignment. Most parents are not, perfection. What they are trying to hold on, because they're trying to hold on to work, get everything together while still getting their sanity. So they're holding on to their work, their home, and responsibility all together. And this is where the real need is. If you have access to this kind of families or this kind of, I can bet you they are around you. And even if this describe you to an extent, there are more people like you. The real solution is a problem, is a business opportunity. Sorry. The real solution is a business opportunity. And this is where an after school care comes in. This gold mine is often overlooked because a lot of people do not understand how will you start a business just for a short period of time. But that short period of time is actually what these families need help with. A lot of people also overlook this, not because, it doesn't make money, but because many people don't even realize it's a business. I mean, like I said earlier, for some people, especially people who are teachers, they might be familiar with this. But if this is new to you, or for people that are just passionate, like you told you, I want childcare, I want to do something in the childcare sector, but I don't even know what to do. After school care is a business, is a gold mine that you can leverage on. Like I mentioned yesterday, daycare or preschool center is mostly the popular one, but after school care is it looks hidden, or it looks very subtle, and that's why a lot of people really might not be paying attention to it. The after school care is group based childcare business that operates after school hours in a structured environment. Emphasis on structured, because that is what you're using as a unique selling point to the people that come to you. Briefly, I want to give you the difference between an after school care and a daycare center, because I know yesterday we had some people who are already into daycare already. And this is not to make you take one over the other. Your interest, is valid. But if you want to choose the path of an after school care as a start or alone, you can. If you want to merge the daycare and after school care together, you can, but you have to understand the structure and know that the two of them are two separate businesses that can stand completely alone. So when we say after school care, what are we talking about? You're dealing with school aged children that are usually between 4 to 12 years or 5 to 12 years. And when you're when you're into the daycare sector, you're taking care of younger children who can typically be from 0 to 4 years. Now, in the after school care, you can offer the service as a part-time care. I remember there was someone who joined yesterday. I think her name was Okwade Busayo, if I'm correct. She said she was working as a teacher and she's looking to start an after school care. When she closes from school, she's looking to start her own after school care center, right? So that is possible if you never thought about it. So it is a part-time care that after school until parents return from work. So even for you as a teacher, you can leverage this part-time until you're fully able to launch into it full-time. But for a daycare center, this operates fully from morning till evening. That especially because the need and your target market are different. Most families who opt for daycare centers as against hiring an in-home nanny do this because they are going to work most times. And if they are going to work, they need to leave home early and they have to drop the child off early enough so they can meet up. So usually daycare centers will operate early morning. Some operate as early as 6 a.m., some operate as early as 7 a.m., depending on what works for you. The after school care setup is a program based model, and you need to understand what your offerings are. While the daycare center is a full-time care model, like I said earlier, is that you can start as early as even 6 a.m., depending on how you want to operate. The after school care program has an easier entry point, especially for beginners. Now, if what you have in mind before now is to start a daycare center, you can start with an after school care and later pivot to a daycare center. That is if you want to. But the daycare center is heavily regulated to start. So you need to get a lot of things set up before you can start. Now, why is this a gold mine? Why is this, a business? Is there even money on this? Well, you need to understand that school closes early, and that is one of your leverage starting an after school care center. Parents work late, especially if you're in Lagos. We already know how the system works. Even if a family, depending on the location of work or place of work to home, if a mom or a dad closes at 6, what's the possibility that they will be getting them at 7? Or what's the possibility that they'll be getting them before 8? That is your leverage. Children need supervision, especially at the formative years. The supervision is a big deal because if a lot of family have done, they've invested so much raising a child that they just want the child to miss out or be lost just because they are not available to provide care. And that is where an after school care program helps the family. Demand is consistent. Trust me, based on all of these factors that the demand is there. Families need help. The problem is you need to understand the problem. You need to understand your target market to really, really, benefit from the demand or recognize who really needs this, because the demand is there. Every day, like we established yesterday, people are giving birth every day. If there's nothing that tells you, oh, is childcare lucrative, the fact that people are giving birth every day should solve that for you. And because people are giving birth every day, there will constantly be a need for help. Now, the different gold mines are well positioned to help families depending on the dynamics that they operate with. So why is this a smart entry point? If you choose this path, it solves daily problem, right? And you can operate within fixed hours. It requires structure, but not guesswork. Now, like I said yesterday, a lot of time when people see childcare, and I think because it's been based on our upbringing or our environment, when people think childcare, they think it is just. I mean, the word, that emphasis on just, and that's because this has been most of the feedback that I've received from a lot of people, especially clients. It is just, it is just to take care. It is not. Childcare is a big deal. And if you are not trained, you struggle. I can tell you that if you're not trained, especially even if you're starting a business, which is one of the reasons why we have put this together. If you don't understand how to structure your after school care center, you will struggle, you get frustrated, you get burnt out, and before you know it, you give up. So this is a smart entry point if you get your structure right. You're not guessing, but you're just doing what you know and what you know correctly. And this is another smart entry point because you can start small. You can easily, start this center, especially compared to a daycare center. And then once you get your structure right, once you understand the process, you can grow, and you then decide if you want to pivot into daycare or you just want to maintain the after school care. It is a niche. It is, when when I went through what we put together for the after school care center program, I realized that there is a niche in the niche. So, but you really need to understand the structure, the workings, to understand how you can benefit from the demands of the market. This business is for you if you want a service-based business with real demand. One thing is clear, and one thing you should hold on to is there is a demand. And it's not just a small demand, there is a huge demand, especially because families are constantly asking for help. If this business is for you, if you enjoy structure and organization, this business is for you if you want to impact families and earn more. This business is for you if you want something sustainable and not something random. Our goal in Executive Global Nanny is to raise more childcare business minded founders. This is not to just say, oh, you see, when at some point you will meet people that want to just commonize what you do or make you feel less just because it's childcare. But understanding that, especially when you know this is a gold mine, first of all, and you understand the demands, the need, and these problems that you're solving, you would speak differently. You will, project your brand differently, because these are real life problems that are constantly in need of solution. So you're a solution provider. As long as you're, business minded and solution driven, I think this business is for you. Where most people get it wrong is many people start after school care informally. Like I said earlier, it's in the mindset, and especially the way we grew up, we naturally think it's not a big deal. It's something I can do. Yes, it's something you can do. But it's different when you understand, especially when you understand the structure. You have more clarity on the opportunities embedded that you never knew about. You put policies in place and systems in place. It works differently when you have, the knowledge or the business knowledge. But a lot of people will you just assume, okay, this is how it should be, run it. They get burnt out. They have issues they are not able to solve, or they get into, people would always respect structure. I mean, if you go to a bank and you see a queue, you naturally stay on the queue, right? Because there's a process that already states when you come in, there is a queue. But imagine entering a bank and there is no queue. Everybody's just scattered. What do you think will be there? Chaos. It's going to be chaotic, because someone will say, oh, I came before you. No, I was here before you. No, but I just came and there was nobody here. It gets chaotic. That's exactly what happens. And that's why most people just, miss out on opportunities that they could have actually built on if they understood better. Structure determines how, the outcome in every childcare business. It's all about structure. I'm not going to mince word with you. It is structure. Once you understand structure, the structure that works for your business, your childcare business, I think that's the first foundation into pivoting into profit, or becoming the best that you can ever imagine for your business. Now, the structure that works for a nanny agency business is not the same kind of structure that works for an after school care center, right? So you need to understand when we are saying structure, what are those things that needs to be in place before I start? What are those things that must be in place when I start? How do I tweak or adapt? Parents don't trust, without structure, parents won't trust what you're the service you're offering. Now, you need to understand that when it comes to childcare, everything you're doing is literally based on trust. As a nanny agency owner, I tell families, if you speak with a nanny and you don't trust this person, then you shouldn't hire the person in the first place. Even for nannies, if you don't feel, a lot of nannies stop feel trusted by the person they are working with. So if both parties don't trust each other, even as an agency, if I don't trust you, I don't have business working with you. And that's the same with an after school care. Anything childcare is, at the bane of it is trust. So structure helps you create trust. Even before someone meets you in person, they just haven't, maybe someone told them about your center. It can be only on trust for someone to refer you. Children are not properly supported. If you don't have structure, you just have a lot of children and you don't even know what to do with them. You get overwhelmed because, let's even say, the demands are coming, but you don't even know what to do. Quietly, you're losing clients, or just like that, people stop coming. The main thing you need is understanding the structure of how an after school care center or after school care program works. And this is the reason why most people, quit early, because no one is teaching them what to do. Information is scattered. They have so many things in their head. They have so many ideas, but they don't even know what to do first and what to do next. There is no clear roadmap. And this is where we come in. We have built a system to teach you what to do, how to do it, and in what order to do it. This course, Starting an After School Care Center, was put together not just by anybody, but by a founder who has built an after school care program from scratch. We're offering this course to people who have a vision. You're not just thinking of an also. Trust me, I know for some people it's a start. But if you have a big mindset, a big vision for your childcare business, or if you're choosing the path to start an after school care center and your vision is big, but you just don't know what to do, this course is for you, because we are giving you access years of experience. Our facilitator is Mrs. Ibironke Semowo, which we have on this call tonight. I'll tell you a little bit about her before I bring her in. She's a mindful parenting educator with 15 plus years working with children and families. She co-founded and ran an after-school care center for 10 years, starting from our living room and growing it into a trusted program. If nothing tells you about this course, let this inform you that what you're going to get access to is years, practical years of experience. She knows the Lagos market, and I can tell you this is adaptable regardless of the country that you are, or regardless of the stage that you are. She understands working parents, and she's managed everything from setup to staffing and to daily operations. I will bring her on board right now, and I want you to just, let's celebrate and welcome her with. And yes, good evening, Ma. You have the floor.
Good evening, Iris. Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. It's nice to be here. I see Oyedamola, I see Rhonda, I see Abimbola, Eukarya. Welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure and an honor to be with you this evening. As Iris has said, my name is Ibironke Semowo. Mostly in the parenting and education circles, I'm referred to as Mrs. S. So if you see anything that has Mrs. S on it, it's probably me. I've listened to all Iris, my sister, has told you today about the after-school care as a niche in the childcare business space. Now, when I made up my mind in 2016, in fact, 2015, September, that I was going to start an after-school center in January 2016. Unlike what you are going through now, I did not have any training. So I had to go online because I know that the after-school care business in developed countries, urban countries like America, like United Kingdom, were thriving businesses for those who had a passion for childcare. So I had to go online there, do a few trainings myself, find out more, join associations to know how the after-school program runs. But before I tell you that, I'll tell you a short story that led to this. When I had my first child some decades ago, then my father was still alive. And when my son started school, like nursery school reception, there was a weekend my father had come to visit me, and he looked at me one day and he said, Ronke, I see what you parents of these days are doing. You're working so hard. All of you are spending so much on your children's education now. The amount of money that we will use in building houses, investments, and all back in the days, that you guys are now using it for a primary school child's education. And then what do you do after that? You send the child to school from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Fancy school, elite school, mixing with children from your likely kind of background. And then that child comes home to an unstructured environment. Unlike the kind of nannies you will get from Executive Global Nanny now, we didn't have those kind of nannies then. That child will come home and meet an almost illiterate nanny. My father said that illiterate nanny will undo everything that the school has done from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And yet you're paying the school such huge amounts to educate your children. A child who was taught to pronounce milk in school begins to pronounce milk at home, because that is what your nanny, who they interact with until you get home late at night, will teach them. That never left my head. So when I quit paid employment in 2014, the pull towards parenting, childcare was very, very strong. And it was a new thing in Nigeria then, the after-school care business. I wondered how I was going to start, if it was going to thrive, what were the mistakes I would learn growing. But I believed in this idea so much that I started right inside my living room at home. My husband must have been a very patient person at that time, because I don't know how many people would allow me. On Monday mornings, early Monday mornings, I rearrange my sitting room, bring in the desks, the chairs, everything and all. I shared pictures of it in the training slides. And then my guest room was the children's sleep and play area. So I demarcated, I would rearrange all of that on Monday, hoping that we will not have a visitor in my house from Monday to Friday. And then on Friday evening, I take all of them out again to stock and rearrange my house to the normal state it used to be. And I did that for guess how long? 2 years, until the numbers became too big to accommodate us in the home again. So then we had to move with my business partner. Then we had to move to our own space, which was a whole building. At the time we moved to our own space, within 1 year, we had a wait list because we couldn't accommodate all the children who needed that service. We had to have a wait list that when some children finish primary school, maybe the primary 6 students leave in June, then in September, we will be able to accommodate more. But you know what they say is what you haven't started that won't grow. When I started this business, I didn't even know there were other areas of the business that could bring income for your space. Then we started doing summer camps. We started doing Easter camps. The only times we were closed was December. We started doing camps for half term. We'll bring in resources. This half-term camp is all about creative writing. This was another market that we would advertise. It may not even be children in your after-school care center alone who would register for this, but because you have become a trusted brand with caring for children of those ages 4 to 11, children in primary school, people begin to trust you with much more. So the way I see the after-school care business is that it requires the least financial commitment. I'm always an advocate of start small, work hard, learn on the job, and grow big. It is one of the easiest to start because all you need is the space, which you probably have somewhere between your home and another person's home. All you need is that small space to start, and then you put a structure to that space. Parents out there need these services. We had parents then who would come to us and say, why are you people such a best kept secret from us? That I've been wondering what to do. We have parents who will meet us at functions, hold on to you, very emotional, and tell you thank you for being that bridge. Because the reality is that we live in the urban centers now. 2 incomes are barely enough to run the home. So both parents are out there hustling. Thirdly, parents are now more aware that their child's self-development is much more than what schools can offer from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. What happens to that child's development after 2 p.m. until about 7 p.m. when the parents get home? Is that child going to be left footloose and fancy-free? No structure, no supervision. In parenting, I'm sorry, I'm going to dive into parenting. That's my work. In parenting, the first thing we advise parents to do is to put structure into a child's life. Structure is what builds discipline. And that is what you are offering parents in your after-school center. You're not just providing a space for them to come and drop their children or for their children to stay till they close. You are offering them the structure that those children will miss in those critical 5 hours from when they close in school and when parents close at work. Even teachers now, if there are teachers on this call, you would attest to that. Even teachers close later now, especially teachers in private schools. There was a time when you would say you wanted to become a teacher so that you could close early. Even teachers close later now. And everybody in the home is out there. When we were growing up, there was always an aunt or an uncle, someone from your parents' hometown. There's nobody in the hometown anymore. Everybody is hustling. Nobody is going to leave their daily hustle to come and help you care. Hey, even my younger brother's wife asked me recently that can she bring her children to me? I said, no, you can't bring your children. I'm done with mine. I'm busy, I'm working. So that's the reality on ground. Even grandparents are still hustling now. If you have grandparents in the age ranges of 60s and early 70s, they're all still working. Are we going to leave our children unsupervised? That is where you come in with this kind of business. You are solving a problem. You are helping families build structure so that parents can concentrate also on careers. They can concentrate on their businesses without feeling guilty about their children's structure. That's the service you're offering. I'm a service provider, and I do not let anybody talk down on the service I offer because I know what it is doing for families. I know families who before will ask their drivers to stay at home in the car with the children inside the house until a parent comes. How safe is that in the reality of the times that we live in? Before, when we were younger, they could ask you to stay in a neighbor's house. How many of us can do that without losing sleep now, knowing what we hear every day about child safety? But you need a place where you can hold them responsible because they have promised XYZ to you and you're holding them accountable. Those are the ones that you want to patronize. Those are the places parents are becoming more aware now that their children need to learn social skills, their children need to learn good habits, homework has to be done and done under supervision, school projects have to be done without interruption, children need to learn study skills, children need to learn so many things. And you have an offer, you have the opportunity to offer parents different things. You want to offer them sports and physical activities. You want to offer them homework and academic support, different things. You want to offer them support in learning languages, Nigerian languages, European languages. The market is so wide, the possibilities. In fact, when you start, parents are the ones who will add on to the services you render because they will ask for those services. After some time, we started getting requests for parents for Saturday activities. Please open, Mrs. S, please open for, even if it's for 4 hours on Saturdays, so that in those 4 hours, a parent who wants to go to the market, do their hair and all of those, drops the child, goes there and comes back to pick the child. These were not things that were on the plan when the after-school care business started. But because the need is there, and once, like Iris told you, it is a business of trust. Once parents see your structure, and when I say structure, I don't mean fancy buildings. You can have very fancy buildings, even purpose-built after-school centers, and not have structure. You can. So it's not how big your building is. All the people who trusted me with their children, about 30 parents who trusted me with their children right in my home, they didn't see any fancy building. They saw structure, they saw passion, and they saw a caring heart. And those are the things you need to get parents invested in your business. When we were moving to a bigger place, it was our parents from the after-school care center who were asking us what we needed. The person who brought smart TV brought, the person who brought computer did, the person who bought microwave did, the person who bought us a fridge did. And these are parents who are paying. But they wanted anything we needed to keep the business going, they were willing to do, because we were offering a service that was important to them. To any parents at any time, their children rank highest on their list of priorities. But the demands of modern day says that they must be out working. So you are providing that balance that helps them work while at the same time ensures that their child is well cared for in a safe, supervised, and homely environment. So these are the things that you need to think of when you are starting or thinking of starting an after-school care center as a part of childcare. Because once people hear childcare, you probably think a daycare center or you're talking about a nanny and all. No, there are so many parts of after school care. You will be surprised at how many parents are looking for after school care for their secondary school children. A place where they can sit and do their homework and not get up to mischief until their parents close. The market is huge. As long as you're willing to start, commit to it, learn on the job, and grow. First of all, it starts with a passion from the heart. Secondly, it then moves on to understanding the business of the after-school care. Passion alone cannot sustain your business. Passion alone cannot sustain it. You need to understand the business behind it. Otherwise, within a few months, you will run out of enough motivation that your passion provides. But the business structure ensures that your passion starts the business, the structure keeps it in operation and keeps it growing. That is why it is important to be trained, to get the basic knowledge about what you need to set up your structure, to have a mentor hold your hand through the first few months of your operations, someone you can call on to say, okay, this is going this way, what should I do? Or what do you think my response should be? Those are the kind of things that, thankfully, the course with Executive Global Nanny is offering those who are taking up this business or those who have started and are still trying to find their feet in the business. So I guess my time may be up, Iris, so that I don't overshoot my time in case there are questions that I need to take.
Wow, I'm sure, you know, I'm wowed personally. I don't know about any other person on this call, but tell me what you think already. Put your comments on the chat box. Let's see how you feel about what you've just heard, what it's doing to your mind right now. How is it informative? Is it, because my brain is, the possibilities, like she said, is endless. Possibilities are endless. And childcare, like I mentioned, is an industry. What she just touched on is after school care. And that is a niche, just one niche. And inside of it are so many streams. That is, you can even have for secondary school. Imagine me telling you what you're looking at, children from 4 years to like 12 years. So the possibilities are endless. If you have any question at this point, please feel free to ask, raise your hand, and let's take it as we plan to wrap up. Now, while we are waiting for questions, I want you to know that the after school care program is available for you if you're looking to start. This is more like a foundation. And we are offering you and all webinar registrants a discounted offer. And this offer is valid for 48 hours. Blessing will put the link in the chat box so you can click on it and sign up as soon as you can. The offer we are giving for you is 180,000 naira. I know for some of you may say, oh, this is much. The value you'll be getting is worth much more than the price we have placed on this course. Now, if you're looking to have a payment plan, we have that option as well. You can reach out to Blessing or send us an email and we'll be happy to assist you with it. But the after school care program is what you should take if you're actually at an after school care center. Trust me, you don't find people sharing their trade secrets these days. A lot of people are competing, especially if you are in the same sector with them. Social media, especially, people are projecting their differences. So choose me over this person, choose this person, I'm the best in the game, but nobody's showing you the way. You don't want to continue, doing the same thing and expecting a different result. This courses that we have put together is for people that already know what they want. You're tired of guesswork. You want to learn from those that have done it, those that have gotten results, and it's easier than you just trying to learn on the job. She has over 15 years experience. She built her after school care center for 10 years from our room, living room. If you are at that level right now, you shouldn't be trying to check online how to start an after school job. The information you're going to get are vague. I can bet you, even me personally, I've Googled how to start a nanny agency online, and I see how vague most of those information are. But it's different when you have someone telling you, I've done this, do this, you will get results. Trust me, if you get the same result or you even get better results based on your tenacity. So that is one of the reasons why we have put these courses together for your advantage. I don't know of any nanny agency currently that is teaching this course, especially how to start your nanny agency. A lot of people will teach you how to start a daycare center. We have that course in our pipeline, but we are starting with this just to let you know possibilities in the childcare market. So if you're ready and you're really, really ready, take advantage of this offer that we've given to you, and I can bet you're not going to regret it. Do we have any questions? Any question yet? Any question? Let me see the chat box. This is so informative. Oh, Juliet is saying this is so informative. I've always known about the daycare centers, but the structured system embedded in it. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I know the daycare center is most popular, but even with the daycare center, you can also offer an after-school care center, but you need to be sure that you understand the workings, the structure. These are two different models. You can only merge them if you have the knowledge of both businesses. Rhoda is saying, thank you so much, Ma. It was very insightful. I started an after-school care this January, yet no clients. I have shared flyers on banner. Is there something I'm not doing right? Okay. As a question.
Okay, I saw the question, Iris. I saw the question. The first thing I'm going to ask is, what is your marketing strategy like? 1, 2, is your location in a place where there are schools that can act as feeders into your business? These are some of the things that I dealt with that you will find in the training program that Executive Global Nanny Services is offering. What is your marketing strategy? What are you using to direct attention to your business? Are people around you clear about what you are offering? Are you making use of your family members? Are you making use of friends and associates to spread the word about your business? Those are the things you need to look at first in your immediate environment before you start spending money on huge marketing expenses. What are you doing with your immediate market? Who do you know in the schools around you that you want to sell your business to? If I open a shop, for instance, I want to sell clothes. I brand the shop is lovely, it has all the best clothes and everything and shoes there. And when I finish doing that, I sit down in the shop, hoping that customers will walk by and come and patronize me. I'm likely to be staying in that shop morning till evening every day. But if I do that, and I then announce myself to the people who buy the kind of things I sell, I'm likely to start getting inquiries. Inquiries will lead to more inquiries. Some will lead to referrals and some will lead to businesses. So you need to look at your immediate environment. Who are you marketing to? Are your targets parents? Are they in your environment? Do they know what you offer? Are you willing to have a free taster day for them to come in and see the kind of services you offer? Those are all the things you need to think about.
All right, Rhoda, I hope your question has been answered. If you want more, take the course. You would have your answers, gain more clarity on what to do first and what to do next. Okay, I see Juliet saying, though not yet started, but I intend to. My question is, do I have to be an educationist before venturing into this? Also, I don't have a degree to back up an education system. How do I face the legal system or body?
Okay, good question. Now, I don't know if anyone has ever thought of partnerships here. In Nigeria, we're just waking up to partnerships. I always tell myself that I would rather own 50% of a thriving business than own 100% of a business that's not going anywhere. As long as you have good partnership agreements. I started the after-school care center in my home, but I got on a partner. I have a degree in education, but I'd always worked in the corporate sector. I knew that at some point in time, I was going to go back to education. Now, in order to get that jump started, I already had a degree in education, so even if government was asking for my background in order to register my business, I had it. But I knew that some skills will be deficient. I had very good administrative, management, operational skills. I needed someone who had more hands-on skills with children of that age. So I got a partner who had worked for 15 years in a good private school. And we owned 50% each of the business. So what I tell people is, if you have skills deficiency, look for somebody who you are, one, either going to employ, or two, bring in as a partner at whatever level to shore up the deficiencies in your skills. So if you do not minding that having a degree in education is not a prerequisite, it doesn't say whether you're going to have a successful after-school care business or not. Because even with a degree in education, if you do not have the passion for childcare, it's different from teaching. There are two different ball games entirely. Childcare is different from teaching. Teaching, you know what you're going to do in class, you go to class and do it. Childcare, you don't know what can come up any day with any child. So there are two different things. So it's not a prerequisite, but if you feel that there will be some skill deficiencies, then you either employ someone who's probably a retired teacher or someone who is willing to work part-time with you on that business.
All right, Juliet, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
I think it did.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do we have any other question? I think it's been a very beautiful evening. And yes, this marks the end of our 2-day webinar. You guys are the best. I wouldn't, because you're going to be our first cohort. And I'm really looking forward to having each and every one of you in class. Whatever business you think or you believe you can start, make sure you choose the best for yourself and you get the right knowledge that you need to run it. The year is still very fresh. The possibilities you can get in 2026 and start today can start tomorrow, but it's all dependent on what you do today. This is not to cajole you, but you have the decision in your hands. The choice is yours. You want to start your nanny agency, you want to start your after school care center, take the decision today. The market is waiting for you. You'll be shocked at how many people are looking for you. See, and like Mrs. Ibironke rightly said, childcare is different from teaching. Childcare, from my own perspective, you just need a problem-solving mindset.
Yes.
Of course, every day is different. But if you enjoy solving the problems, are real life problems, and families are willing to pay for, those kinds of services. That's what we are talking about. That's what we're talking about in childcare. You don't get this kind of training in an early childhood education course, or you don't get this kinds of training in, a teaching practice center. No, these are, real life needs and real life solutions. So if you're ready, you don't just want to do things shabbily. I am very passionate about doing something excellently. Whatsoever you want to do, build a brand around it. It's not just and like I mentioned yesterday, when people talk about nannies, I'm very intentional about the language, the vocabulary we use around the people that work with us. So when people say maids, house help, house girl, it's a framing. So if you're saying, I know when growing up, talking about after school care center, a lot of people, especially if you're Yoruba, you must have heard Jelly Osimi, something like that. See, it is all about the vision that you have and the possibilities that you have embraced. So don't think about limitations. Don't think about the things that are not working. This is a solution placed right on your lap, placed, right on your hand, and it is left for you to embrace it on time and start running. We are wrapping up now, and we have questions on the group. We have a group for every one of you. You can send a message. Blessing is active. She would attend to your request. If you want a payment plan, you want to take the course, but you want a payment plan, you can let us know. We can sign you up for it. But just know that this is your choice. This is your best bet if you want to start an after-school care center that will thrive. That will thrive. We are not teaching you fluff. These are founders that have done the work and have results to show for it. So thank you, everyone. I'm so grateful for you guys, and I really look forward to the possibilities that you achieve even as you take on this journey. It's really nice to have you, Mrs. Ibironke. I'm so thankful for you.
Thank you so much. And I will be on hand. I will be on hand to keep asking questions for those who join your course at any point in time. I'm always available to answer questions or put them through anything that does not look clear. Thank you very much for having me. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.